Hi, this is Elkin, and welcome back to my channel. Well, it's been a strange night in Fulton County in Atlanta. Now, we're not sure exactly what the hell's going on. On the one hand, you have a district attorney down there who seems to have scored a major victory against Trump on the way to a possible July indictment for the 2020 elections in Georgia. On the other hand, Governor Kemp just signed a bill into law that makes it easier for the state to remove DAs that are not doing their jobs. And in other words, they're causing problems in their offices that's leading to all sorts of problems in the justice system. Well, if you've been following, you notice that you have DA's offices have been disarrayed from coast to coast, regardless of which George Soros DA you're talking about. And crimes in many of the blue cities have gone absolutely sky high in numbers. And, well, as you may know, Ken Garner is resigning from her post in St. Louis because of her incompetence. Well, and then some other crazy stuff by forcing staff to leave her office to her taking classes in nursery while she's supposed to be at work. You know, she's resigning on June 1st. The state, however, is still going after her, as well as the justice system going after her. Because the state wanted to get her out before then, because she wanted to make sure that she don't get to choose her successor. They want to make sure that a non-George Soros DA would take her place. That's hell of a mess. And I mean, the county, they're having a similar problem. A new DA there has been turning that office upside down. And we had the situation where the DA offered this man who killed 3 people, who was facing 75 years in prison, a sweetheart deal of just 15 years. But the judge does not want to go along with it, and she's trying to force the judge out so he can't hear any more cases, so she can put in the sweetheart deal. And of course, you know, George got stoned in L.A. It's similar problems, as well as Alan Bragg's in New York, and the DA in Washington, D.C., and Houston, and Chicago, and the list goes on and on. Apparently, they're having the same problems in Atlanta. As you may recall, not long ago, you just had a mass shooting in Midtown in Atlanta. Yes, not Midtown Manhattan, Atlanta. It shut down that area. They had a huge manhunt looking for this individual. Even though they found him, I guess they have concerns about that office too, because I'm sure they're afraid that she's going to give him a sweetheart deal also. So it's just absolutely chaos across the country. As you may know, the situation in Atlanta, Georgia, they're still trying to claim that Donald Trump was trying to force the issue with election officials there, trying to manufacture some votes so he can win the state. There's no indication that he was trying to do that, but unfortunately, they're saying it in that way because, one, they want to make sure that Trump doesn't run again, and two, they want to keep the status quo. They want to push their agenda and their narrative. They don't care about the truth. All these George Soros DAs are so problematic. I even have a nickname for them. They're all a bunch of soy-drinking numbnuts. They don't belong in office. They belong in a nut house with a rubber room and a straitjacket. Because that's exactly what they're doing to their communities. I even made a little bit of fun at Alan Bragg's in New York at his expense. Being that he's a big man, I don't mean height, I mean waistline, bigger than me. I'm saying, hey, I think I know why you're so big and fat, because you're going to all these parties and eating all this food from people who were trying to get you to go after Trump. But when you stopped, the party stopped and the free food stopped. So that's probably when he went back, to get the parties and the free food back. And of course, he has a DA, one or two DAs that left, and one of them wrote a nasty book about that situation, which is what led to Jim Jordan, the congressman, to subpoena these two to come before Congress, and all kinds of hell breaks loose. And the guy hadn't been in office in over a year, the one who wrote the book. So this is a situation that seems to be happening also in Atlanta. This is probably why the bill has become law. Now, it's not automatic. They had to form a commission. They had to investigate each and one of these DAs. And if I was prudent, and I was Brian Kemp, I'll be going after the Fulton County one first. Because July is not that far away. So, I mean, before you know it, you got the 4th of July, you got June Day, and you got Memorial Day. So the commission had to work fast to go after this DA in Atlanta, Georgia. So, if they find her in contempt, she is incompetent, then remove her, put a conservative, non-George Soros person in there, and that'll be the end of it. There'll be the crime will probably go down dramatically, and maybe the Trump case will go bye-bye. I did make a commitment on another social media platform, can't mention, because they seem to have a problem here now with mentioning other platforms. They're going after as many of these George Soros DAs as possible. I feel emboldened with Ken Garner's resignation. So we're going to go after many of them as possible. You know, because Stone is a nice target. Alan Braggs is in my backyard, and I can get stories about him and continue to go after him. There's one in Atlanta, Georgia, seems to be getting pretty hot all of a sudden. That's something I want to dig into. And I know Kimberly Fox, that's another soil drinking numbnut that needs to be removed. Smollett is the least of our problems. And the new one in Alameda County, Kimberly Price? Hey, if there was a game show, her name, the name of the game show would be The Price is Wrong. She's been wrong for a couple of months. Is already driving people out of that office. She's losing staff like Ken Gardner is. So you just can't have it. You have innocent people being attacked by criminals, and they support the criminals. You know, there's social warrior nonsense about that the criminals need to be rehabilitated in such a way they take no responsibility for their actions, and they come back in and out of the system and causing more crime. We just had an incident in New York City subway where, unfortunately, 3 Samaritans tried to stop someone, and one of them accidentally killed this individual, and the Mandier wants to go after him. They already decided to have a grand jury to investigate this, and we're very fearful of the outcome. Meanwhile, there are protests in the street happening because the state-sponsored media, let's put it that way, the Daily News and the Eyewitness News and all these other people, they're fanning the flames, making it worse. You have people protesting in the street and causing a lot of chaos down there in Manhattan. Funny thing is, when Trump was being indicted, we didn't have that chaos. But we were getting told warnings and to those protesters and Marjorie Taylor Greene by the mayor of New York City. But when these people are protesting, not a peep coming out of the mayor. Unfortunately, I used to live in New York City. I don't anymore. And I'm glad I moved out when I did. Luckily for us in New Jersey, a lot of the DAs, even if they are liberal, have a lot more common sense than the New York counterparts or the other counterparts. You don't see New Jersey in chaos. Maybe Atlantic City and Camden a bit, but nothing like New York City. And you notice I didn't even mention Newark. So everybody's favorite target is Newark. But it's the other cities that we're concerned about that we need to get rid of these George Soros DAs. And you know what? The states should start passing legislation to ban George Soros from any future donations to political campaigns. That way his money will no longer be allowed to cause chaos in elections and in the crime situation afterwards. So, George Soros, to me, is a war criminal, and he should be prosecuted as a war criminal. So, I'd like to see him in jail. And I'd like to see them take the fortune he created and burn it to the ground. So, we have to see what happens in Atlanta, and I'll keep an eye on it. It's going to be very interesting. This is a race to see if that DA ends up with a Trump indictment or no job. So this is Alcan saying so long for now. Don't forget to stop. Have a good morning. See you in the next video.